Hello, party people. My name is Adam Williams, and you are listening to Retail Redeveloped. Today is going to be a very special short-form podcast for all of my friends out there with a very short attention span. Today, we are talking about resale. Now, resale is on the move. Big retailers to small retailers, seed stage investors, large buyout firms, New York Times to Netflix. Everybody seems to be talking about the future of resale. Now, what is resale? Resale pretty much is making money on stuff you already own. Now, the early adopters are Airbnb, Lyft, DoorDash. They all have that same theme. Like, you already own the car, right? How can you make money off the car that you already own? You already own the apartment or the house. How can you make a little side hustle cash with stuff you already own? But we're going to focus a little bit more on online resellers like thredUP, the RealReal, Rent the Runway, people like that. So the last few years of growth in the resale market have been driven by the early adopters. But now we're talking about more traditional retailers that are starting to embrace secondhand. The resale customer is no longer somebody else's customer or like a Marshall's or somebody else's kind of low-end customer. They're everybody's customer. Mass market or luxury, if people can't find a high-quality product on sale, they'll choose gently used. As the line between new and used apparel blurs for consumers, a powerful transformation in retail is unfolding in front of our very eyes. The Resell Company, the RealReal, has yet to turn a profit, but for investors, the company and the resale market as a whole are still very promising. The RealReal, for those of you that don't know, is an online luxury consignment store that differentiates itself by saying everything is 100% real. The CEO has said there are no fakes on our site, and every single item is authenticated. Now, that sounds like a heavy lift to me because we all know that China can turn out some pretty good fakes. CNBC looked at 1,400 online reviews of the company and found that fakes and damaged items, mistakes, things like that are the top complaints. In this week's third quarter earnings, the RealReal recorded a net loss of $25.3 million. But the general external consensus was that the business is humming along. Obviously, this isn't new for startups, especially in an emerging or unproven industry. You're kind of expected or even encouraged to make a loss in the beginning as you kind of figure things out and get to scale. Cohen analyst Oliver Chen wrote in a report, "We continue to believe the RealReal has leadership in supply gathering, authentication, and single SKU management, which should lead to market share gains. As a result, his firm rates the stock as an outperform. The RealReal stock jumped more than 3% in after-hours trading after the results hit. Analysts were impressed by the overall gains the company had made. Revenue had risen 55% to over $80 million, and losses were less than they were in 2018. Quote, we expect management to make further progress with automation, which should drive lower unit costs and put Real on track to achieve profitability by fiscal year 22, wrote Chen. Now, the biggest hurdle the company currently faces involves its authentication process, which we touched on earlier. A new report from CNBC interviewed unhappy customers and former employees and highlighted how counterfeit items remain a huge problem for the RealReal's platform. As a result, despite the sizable stock price gain last night, the RealReal stock fell over 4% Tuesday morning. No shocker. The stock market is obviously volatile. Still, the overall sense from investors remains that resale may have huge growth potential, even if it's yet to figure out a sustainable business model. Other companies like thredUP and StockX have been rapidly growing as well. StockX in particular, if you're not familiar, is like a stock market that's created for, covetable sneakers. They've just raised a Series C $110 million round of funding, values them at over $1 billion. The sneakers are a crazy game, man. People line up. There's a sneaker shop in my neighborhood, and anytime they're doing a release, man, it's like they're giving away candy. So not the RealReal is not the only player in the game. The private market fervor has revolved around the thesis that fast fashion is a waning and unsustainable fad, and more people are looking for sustainable options. thredUP released a report this year that estimated the overall resale market to hit $51 billion by 2023. Another company that I find absolutely fascinating is Rent the Runway. I went to a speaking session with them in Manhattan last time I was up there, and they think that, I forget the number now, it was a really, really interesting presentation, but they think like a third of all female fashion is going to be rented over the next 10 years. And I kind of scoffed at that idea, and I kind of put my wife as the last person that would ever do Rent the Runway. I just thought that she would turn her nose up at it. Now she's obsessed with it. So, you know, if it's good enough for my bougie wife, I think other people are going to follow suit as well. With The RealReal is one of the few public companies in the space. Wall Street is also trying to believe that this growing up of online vintage stores has the potential to become a true force in the apparel world as well. As Forrester analyst Sucharita Kodali, probably murdered that, pointed out to Modern Retail last July, the amount of money required to build infrastructure that takes in stores and then resells clothes is wildly expensive. The only way to approach a path to profitability is to become truly mainstream. Gap, for instance, posted $16 billion in sales in 2018. Quote, I don't see any of these niche companies getting to that level in the near future, said Kodali. For now, the resale space remains niche, but it has a bunch of bulls on the sidelines. Public companies like The RealReal are expanding at a fast clip and attracting more customers. Others like StockX continue to dominate the headlines and VC checkbooks. Hope you guys enjoyed this quick 7-minute jump into the resale market. It's something that we should all keep our eye on. It's not going anywhere. It's only going to get bigger. My name's Adam Williams. This is Retail Redeveloped. Please subscribe. Check it out on Spotify, iTunes, wherever you get your podcasts. Tell your retail and real estate nerd friends about it, and I thank you so much for listening.